podcast. I'm here today with my friend Rhonda Liebig. Rhonda, welcome.
Hi, Maria. I'm so happy to be in the space with you today.
I know. And it was a long time we were doing a Facebook Live. So thank you. I'm doing this as a 10-day recurring marketing strategy for paying attention to my upcoming book on conscious love, on soulful and intimate connection. And I'm bringing women and men in for the sake of having conversations about love and relationships. And this is the second day, and I have Rhonda here. Let's start. So this is interesting. Yesterday I was having a male perspective. Today we have a female perspective. So if you're a man out there, maybe this is something you will find really intriguing and interesting. But just let's start with, I just love this conversation because someone asking me during an interview a time ago, and I love it. So Rhonda, tell the story. How did we meet each other?
So Maria, I've noticed you can just flag me if I get caught up in the mixture of the web area here. But Maria, I love you. I have to say that first. And I'm so glad we're talking about conscious love today. And I've known you for about 5 years. And we've been trying to figure out threaded throughout the years of the connection that we had to how we can do something together. The first time I met you was when we were in a program together with Kendall Summerhawk, and we really got to do some traveling and get to know each other, even though you're way over in Sweden and I'm in California. It's been seeming like this has been a heavy, strong bond of womanly love and nurturing in a supporting area. I love you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I love you too, Rhonda. And this is so, I think a lot of women sometimes are competing against each other. And there is something, for me, the healthy feminine is doing co-creation. And this is how we've always been in each other's space, and finding a way how we could also co-create, but also supporting each other. Okay, so today I'm going to pick your brain. So let's start with that question of what's great about being a woman?
I could not have answered that probably about 8 years ago. I was very lost. So where I am right now, the wonderful thing about being a woman is being in that heart space, loving, nurturing woman as I am, to be able to carry Jacob and Kirsten, my wonderful kids, and feeling that it's so easy to get into that feminine power once I started connecting with it. And I feel like that's something special in my space as a woman, is to take really good care of myself, nurture myself. And I have a daughter that we spend quite a bit of time taking care of our hair and in our area. When the boys go off and do their thing, which is quite masculine things, which is really fun, her and I will go in and we'll bake, and we'll figure out ways to make things that are nurturing, that where you don't where you feel really good and healthy. And we're always in that space as a young woman and a mom, but you know, I'm guiding her. She's really just being nurtured by another guiding light. I see it. And I love that about being a woman. And I know you're more educated in this area, Maria, because I watched Raphael's interview with you yesterday, and I could feel his feminine space there in a very masculine way. And I could relate with him so much. And I feel as a woman, we can go in maybe even deeper, or that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen the interview I did yesterday with Rafael Martinez, and if you're a woman, go in there and take a look, because it's really, it's something that happens with your feminine when you're actually feeling held and being in a space of someone who's coming from that, what I call healthy masculine, and really holding you there and meeting you there. And that was the kind of conversation we had. And I'm sure if you watched yesterday, and if you're watching this today, you will probably also see that I'm having a slightly different energy today when I'm with Rhonda compared to yesterday when I was with Raphael, right? Can you feel that, Rhonda?
I can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to people's energy. I bet everybody else is too once you start opening up to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this companionship with you. And I believe that's why we've brought other women into our lives and we nurture that space. It's a different energy. And I felt very creative with you today.
Yeah. And okay, so here's so we coming together from the feminine in the co-creation right now. And yesterday, I think I and Raphael, we came from the polarity of masculine and feminine, and it becomes a different kind of interaction, right? Which means that you don't even have to be intimate partners or lovers. It's still something that happens in that interaction when you're really tapping into that. So I'm super happy. So Rhonda, how do you define a successful life?
To me, it's ever evolving. Where I am right now is that a successful life is knowing how to really step into your day. So it's not about conquering and taskless and just about money. It's to me about how do I start my days so that I can feel myself, like I can feel that my mind is connected with my body. That platform and base that I've been working on just seems to evolve even more as I practice that. And that to me feels really successful. Everything else is the special sauce that just flows with it and becomes an easier flow. And I felt that a lot these past couple of years of watching as my business is growing. It really took time for me to step in and nurture myself more. And that was one of the things I was missing.
So I'm hearing actually that nurturing yourself and being connected to yourself and self-love, all that part is really for you an indication of success, but it's also part of the womanhood.
Very much so. It's not something I could have connected with in my past life. I guess you could say I used to be an accountant, CPA, very corporate driven, and other women I was battling with. And I would say mean things behind their back because it was all about competition, all about my insecurities. And I wish I would have had a mentor like you, Maria, where I could have felt that there is this wonderful space and collaboration with others that I used to combat with because I was always trying to one up somebody. Now I understand what it's like a self-promotion, like anything that's going on, being able to really share that and explain it. And it's really evolved into something different than what I ever would have been able to understand unless I was nurtured in that area.
Yeah, and hearing you speaking about it, it brings some kind of sadness to me because I know so many women are living in that kind of competitive state and battling with other women, but first, most of all, maybe battling with themselves, battling with loving their body, battling with doing their exercises, eating the right kind of food, or having the right eyelashes, or whatever it is. So that for a lot of women, that kind of model, the ideal picture of the feminine, is also a lot about different kind of attributes. How you put yourself on more things like beautiful nails, beautiful eyelashes, makeup, all this kind of things that make you look more feminine, but still inside you can be super harsh and super, yeah.
Yeah, I really feel that a lot. I feel like as the evolution is happening, that I've become a better parent also. So as a woman in my feminine masculine space, where I just didn't understand how to have conversations with my kids at a level that just felt like we always talk about like being playful talking and being on the same wavelength, and I realized my 6th grader and 8th grader really understand a lot, and it made a big change in how I evolved as a parent also. So the feminine space has been so different for me as a parent too, as I've stepped into that. And I've seen massive changes with Jacob and Kirsten.
Yeah. What is the qualities you have today in the woman you are today compared to what you didn't have before? Like, what is the qualities you're seeing in yourself today?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, what was that? I know we have a little bit of a...
Yeah, it seems like we have some fuss on the line. I don't know what it is. But what is the qualities you're seeing yourself today that you recognize you didn't have in your past life?
Breathing, stepping into who I am. I used to hide a lot about who I was, embarrassed, and the embarrassment is interesting. So I really see now that my shyness or embarrassment or turning red, being uncomfortable, I see that now as like an epidemic of other things that are going on around our world. So when somebody is really shy, now I understand that it's just us hiding. So my words are that I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I can connect. I can hear more, and that I'm more present. Those are the things that I pretty much, I was opposite of that before.
Yeah. If you're listening now, I just want to say hi to you. I know you're there. I can feel you, and I'm so sorry that we can't interact because it's all fuss up the line even more if we're trying to manage Facebook at the same time as we're having this Zoom webinar. So thank you for being there, and thank you for writing us some heart or whatever you're doing. I love you. Okay, so I know you're in a partnership and you have kids with your husband, and what is it being committed in a relationship like that? What does that bring for you as a woman? Like, what is the value here beyond family beyond family, children? Because that's quite obvious.
I think it's a really important question to ask. When I would say when there is a slight difference I should say there's a big difference from where I am now in my relationship to where I was almost 20 years ago when I met my husband. And a lot of the attitude that I would have was disconnect. So if something went wrong with us, I would be scared, anxious, concerned. And of course, he's very sensitive. He could feel that. And we didn't fight a lot, but we did a lot of passive aggressive stuff. And it really was affecting our relationship as time went on. Because as time went on for us, like it does for many, is the relationship is so important. When we started having Jacob and Kirsten, our relationship changed. And I started learning more about myself and the things that I was like, oh, I don't care. Whatever, it's his problem. And when I started learning and hearing these things, I actually cried as a partner with this other man, Jeff, that I love and I know that he's my soulmate. And I just know that because it just feels like we're in alignment wherever we go in life. And so I cried to him and I said, I really don't feel like I've been the best wife. And he was confused because he was in the past, and he saw me for who I am now. He could see it, and that's what kept us together. And I had to have confessions with him about how I just was not a full partner with him, and it really deeply upset me, and I started crying. And from that day on, I made a commitment. When he's stressed, that I'm there for him as a partner. When he lashes out at me, that if I'm in my right space as I do my morning process and evening process, I keep myself balanced so that I can do the best I can so I don't lash back out at him. I really sit with it and realize he's dealing with some struggles. Before I wouldn't do that. And so our life is not passive aggressive anymore. It's confronting, and it's coming from the heart now, and it's us both listening. And he's been able to pick up on my learnings as I've been going along and shifting. And I think of this beautiful poem that I carry with me all the time called like Our Deepest Fear. And it's about the fear of shining and making these changes and doing all these things. But that is in my heart because my deepest fear was about shining and about changing and him not following me. And as I've been evolving, he has been listening and evolving with me. And I just know that somehow at that point for 20 years, I've picked the right partner to what's now. And we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. I just know I feel so happy and deeply loved.
That's funny. It's hearing how your relationship over the years have actually growing you together deeper, and it's deepening and expanding the relationship rather than what happens for a lot of couples actually becoming more separated and growing apart, but you're actually bonding it together and deepening it and taking it to new layers. The question I'm asking, in Sweden we have 43% of the household are single. That's quite a lot. In United States, it's if it was 23 or 28%, I have it in my book because I did research around it when I wrote my book, but it's increasing in the United States as well. So, so we have a tendency in contemporary society where people seems to choose much more to stay single instead of committing to a relationship, or maybe it's an expression of or postmodern society, or there's other reason for it. But I mean, in the old society, it was more common that people come together and and also maybe your partner are even chosen. So there is many different ways of having relationships and exploring relationships beyond the monogamous partnership as well. But I'm curious if you could say something, because I think a lot of men haven't thought about, like, what is it that the men don't know about women?
That's a good question. I like that one.
Yeah.
That we are not as bitchy as you think that we are. There's something undercurrent going on, that the labels that happen, that we really are, we're beings in that we have a lot of issues too. And sometimes being a man, what I really like about the person that I'm with is my first experience of really stepping into it, is if you could have a lending ear and really listen, you'll realize that you may not have a bitch as a wife or a girlfriend. I feel like that label like when you step into your leadership, sometimes as women, we can rub men the wrong way. And so as the men steps into that real good, comfortable, strong, masculine space, it and I think that there has to be a deeper partnership. And what's interesting, Maria, is as a health coach, I see that, and a lot of stuff messes with our mind. And once we start scrubbing and cleaning our body, I notice that there's more clarity in our mindset and where we're going. And so I'm really interested to know more about those stats, because it's interesting, like the epidemic and what's going on, because it's great to be single and it's great to go out and have fun and have other partners. That may be the direction. I just know it's so much fun with what I understand at this point. And I could have left Jeff at the beginning of when we had kids, because it's so hard to be a parent, that there were so many things I did not like about him.
Yeah.
And I realized it was because of me.
Yeah.
And also because the lack of communication. And I was a person, fight or flight kind of person. Yeah. And I could have left, but something stepped me in deeper.
This is really interesting. So what I'm hearing you saying, if I'm rephrasing it, and you can correct me if I'm right, is that women can be very emotional and upset and angry in a way, and in that space, actually, to have a man who knows where we're going is also something that we can lean into in a way. It becomes something supportive, but that emotional state we're in can actually have us withdraw and disconnect, because so if we don't have someone in the other pole actually holding us and bringing us out, it's easy to disconnect and close the door than actually staying, committing, connecting, being there. Like it's this kind of I mean, a lot of men experience women's resistance to having sex, for instance, right? So she's tired, she's exhausted, she don't want to touch you, all this. So there is something about the feminine has a resistance in some way, a resistance.
Yeah.
And
you explained it nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And so we are like, and maybe that resistance is the resistance of ourselves, or I don't know what it is, but somehow, and I think this becomes the how some men become masterful in, because in some way we open ourselves so they are able to penetrate that resistance and have us staying or opening up or surrender or whatever it is. But it's something in their capacity that has us lean into that. And I don't know, maybe I was just over exaggerating or making my own interpretation of what you were saying, but it was like I was hearing something of that in there.
Oh no, I love what you said.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think it's super used in a way. So we what do you find being romantic, Rhonda? What is romantic to you?
I think romantic is, I think romantic is not just the flowers and somebody coming around and cleaning the house. Somehow that's romantic to me. But I think the deep romantic space is, I love the caressing. I love the vertebrae, because that's where our nervous system is. I love that feeling. So the caressing, holding you in a space, seeing me for who I am is so elating that that is what makes me feel that sweet spot.
I love it. You know, we call that the power of attention. And this is really what the feminine are, part of the feminine desires is to have attention. And having that attention from someone we're romantically involved with or just having that from whoever met, that's really something that nourishes us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Rhonda, so you're a health coach. If people like to find you, how are they doing?
So, Maria, I am so excited because my book, 14 Days to a Flat Belly, Guide to a Vibrant, Energetic, Sexy You, it hit #1 a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
So, and I opened it up not just to the United States, but abroad too, that you're able to get the book. I would love for you to learn a little bit about me. Go to my author page on Amazon. From there, you can get my book, and you have the option to come into a private Facebook group where I'm nurturing how you can take the book into your lifestyle and be able to live with the process that seems to be working for many, as I've been in the industry for about 17. com/author/Rhonda Liebig.
Okay, great. You have to write that in down there on the under this video. Okay.
Okay.
So people can easily find it.
I definitely will.
We're breaking up. So this is super cool, and I'm happy we're holding it really to 30 minutes. We have 10 days of speaking about love and relationships and learning more from people who are experienced in relationships and people who are maybe never much thought about it, but different kind of conversations with different kind of courageous men and women who are showing up in these conversations. So please join me this time, 9 p.m. Swedish European Standard Time or noon Pacific time. And the book launch for my book, Conscious Love, is on March 1st. So don't miss that one, where you can buy it for only 99 cents. Okay, thank you so much for watching and being here today. Much love. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.